Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be making a 5-panel roll cap. I'll be showing you how to make this cap at home and also the tools you need to ramp up your production. This is also one of the easiest caps to make, so if you are new to sewing, you should have no problem following the easy step-by-step tutorial. With all that being said, don't forget to grab the printable pattern and let's get started. Getting started with supplies, you need a 1/4 yard for your main fabric, and I'd recommend using a canvas, denim, or twill. These are all very durable fabrics and they're easy to work with. They're also super great for cap making, and I'm actually going to be upcycling my fabric from a pair of jeans. So if you have an old pair of jeans laying around, you can upcycle that denim to use as your fabric. And if you do go this route, just make sure there's not a lot of spandex in the denim because you don't want it to be stretchy. But like always, get creative, test different fabrics, and make something that's really unique to your style. You'll need 4 eyelets, and these are going to be used on the side of the cap for ventilation. I'll be using a 6mm eyelet. This is the size I typically use on caps, but feel free to switch it up and use whatever size eyelet you would prefer. You'll need 1 back closure, and you can get these in a bunch of different styles. You can get leather and buckle, plastic snaps, or nylon clip. And depending on which one you choose, it's really going to change up the style of the cap. You'll need 1 sweatband, and this is going to be used for the inside of the cap for comfort and fit. I'll be buying mine, but if you don't want to buy yours, you can also make yours. It's very simple, and I'll get more into that later in the project. You'll need 1 size strip, and this is optional. It goes under the sweatband, and it's used to help with the sizing and also prevent the panels from stretching when you're sewing on the sweatband. Again, it is optional. You don't need it, but it's very helpful. And again, for all these cap components used to make the cap, you can get them all at capsupplyco.com. They offer a wide variety of cap making supplies, and they're all super quality. So if you're looking to scale up your production, you can buy it in bulk or just a few to make a couple caps. But other than that, it's a great place to go to get all your cap making supplies. Lastly, you'll need your pattern. This pattern is available at properfitclothing.com. It's super easy to use. All you have to do is download it, print it off, and cut it out. And real quick, before you cut out your panels, double check the size guide at the top, because if it's not printed to the correct size, caps are very precise and it's either going to turn out too big or too small. So double check that size guide at the top of the page before you start cutting out your fabric. And once you have all your supplies gathered and your pattern printed out, it's time to move into cutting. And after printing out your pattern, it should look like this. And be sure to double check the guide at the top of the page to make sure you printed it to the correct scale. And from here, we're going to cut on the outside of the black line. And once you cut out all of the panels, you're going to want to end up with 1 roll brim panel cut out of your main fabric. And the thing about this panel is that it's very customizable. You can actually extend the width and the height. Ultimately, this will change up the look of the cap for extra customization, but you can always do this later on after we create the crown. The second thing I want to go over is the interfacing or foam. It is optional for this panel. I will be adding it just to show you how it looks. This is going to give that brim panel a fuller look. I do recommend using it for that professional store finish, and you can pretty much use any foam, batting, or interfacing. You just want to make sure it has a little bit of thickness to it so it fills out that brim panel. You'll need 2 side panels cut out of your main fabric. And for the side panels, I do recommend marking the front and back edge. This way you don't get it mixed up when we sew it to the top panel in later steps. You'll need 2 top panels cut out of your main fabric. And lastly, 1 front panel cut out of your main fabric. And you're also going to want to mark the top edge so that way you don't get it mixed up in later steps. Getting started with the project, the first thing we're going to do is grab the roll brim panel, unfold the panel with right sides facing up, and the first thing we're going to do is take a look at customizing the size of the brim. And there's 2 different ways you can customize it. You can change the width or the height. And you can really customize it to any size you would like, so have some fun with it, play around with different measurements, and see what works best for your style. If you do plan on making custom measurements, it's best to make the crown first, so that way you can kind of compare it before you start sewing. And for the interfacing, I'm actually using a batting. It's a little bit thicker, so what I'm going to do is fold it in half and cut it directly down the center. This will reduce the thickness and make it easier to sew in future steps. Fold the main fabric panel in half with right sides together, place the batting or interfacing on the wrong side, and we're going to stitch just the side edges at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Double check both sides, make sure all the layers got stitched together. Before we flip the right sides out, we're going to snip the corners on a 45-degree angle to remove some of the bulk. Then go ahead and flip the right sides out, move the interfacing to the inside, and line up all the layers along the bottom edge. If the corners aren't perfectly square, you can flip the wrong sides back out and trim more of the corner. To make it easier to install the brim, we're going to add a serge along that bottom edge to secure all the layers together. If you don't have a serger, you can use a zigzag stitch instead. It's not only going to secure the layers together, but it's also going to prevent the fabric from fraying. As you can see, using that batting as an interfacing really gave the brim panel some fullness. This will help pop that brim panel out when it's around the crown and not make it look so flat. And you can definitely play around with the thickness of interfacing. The thicker you go, the more full it's going to look. But anyways, that's going to complete the roll brim panel, so for the moment we can place it off to the side and grab both both of the side panels. Separate the side panels with right sides facing up. Now this next step is optional, but what we're going to do is add eyelets for ventilation. So using the pattern, locate the eyelet placement guides, lay the pattern on top of the panel in the correct orientation, and mark out each one of the guides. I'll be using a 6mm eyelet. I found that this is a great size for cap making, but feel free to switch it up and use bigger or smaller. Cut your opening, place the eyelet through the opening from the right side, and add your backing on the back. To secure it down, I'll be using a hammer die. It came with my eyelet kit. It's super easy to use. All you have to do is place the base on the right side and hammer it down from the back. You also don't need a ton of force when you're hammering, or else you're going to bend the eyelet. With one installed, you can go ahead and repeat the process for the rest of the eyelets. Using eyelets are just one method for installing the vents on the side of the cap. The most common practice in manufacturing is using a keyhole machine. This machine will stitch a small circle and punch out the middle. It's something to look into if you plan on making a lot of caps because it speeds up the production. But anyways, the side panels are complete, so we can place them off to the side and grab both of the top panels. The first thing we're going to do is separate the two panels and then place the right sides together. Using the pattern, locate the top edge, and this is the edge we'll be sewing, so place a few pins and stitch just that top edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Keep in mind you have to be very precise with the 1/4 inch seam allowance, or else once you go to put the front panel on in later steps, it's not going to line up correctly. So you may want to quickly double check that before moving on. For this next step, we're going to clean up the raw edge on the inside of the cap, and there's a few different ways you can do that, and I'm going to be running you through both of the techniques. And that's what I'll show you right now. Start by replacing your needle with the twin tip needle. I'll have this needle linked down below, and it works on all domestic sewing machines. Switch your machine to zigzag stitch, your choice of length, and a 0 width. Thread your machine the same way, but add 2 spools of thread. Be sure to thread through both of the needles and add your binder. It's best to have the bias tape already in so you can line it up with the needles. And I found the easiest way to do this is just tape it down. And once you have it installed, give it a quick run to make sure all the stitches are looking good. Grab your front panels and place that seam directly in the center of the binder and stitch all the way through. And just like that, it's going to add a double top stitch on the front and cover the back seam. But if you want to ramp up production, I recommend getting a double needle sewing machine. This binder is a little bit more advanced than the one I used in the previous step, but they both get the job done. You can also mount both of the binders on any double needle sewing machine. And you use this one the same way. You place the seam directly in the center of the binder and stitch all the way through the seam. It's a lot easier than it looks, and it really doesn't require that many supplies. And if you are looking to manufacture caps, it's best to have a dedicated double needle sewing machine. It really speeds up the production and makes a higher quality product. But anyways, moving on to the next step, grab the front panel. And typically when I make any style of 5-panel cap, I add interfacing to the front panel to give it a little bit of stiffness. But for this specific cap, you want it to be very flexible, so we're not going to add the interfacing. Using the pattern, locate the top edge, and this is the edge we're going to be attaching to the front edge of the top panels. So place the right sides together, lining up the top edge, and if everything was sewn correctly in the previous steps, it should line up perfectly with the front edge of the top panels. If you do have a tiny gap, that's totally fine. It shouldn't ruin the outcome. And from here, we're going to take it to the sewing machine and stitch at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And just like with the top panels, you want to be very precise with the 1/4 inch seam allowance, or else the side panels are not going to line up correctly in future steps. So you'll want to quickly double check that measurement before moving on. If everything is looking good, you can trim the bias tape flush with the seam allowance, and then we're going to top stitch and add bias tape to our new seam. And a quick tip when adding your top stitching, it's best to match your thread color to your fabric color because this is going to hide any small imperfections. Moving on to the next step, grab both of the side panels, using the pattern, locate the front edge, and this will be the edge that connects to the front of the cap. You really want to make sure you have these going in the correct orientation, or else the cap is not going to fit correctly. So place the right sides together, lining up the front edge with the front panel. Since it's a very harsh curve, you can't really pin these two layers together, so you kind of have to sew it as you go. This means you start at one end and you continuously move those two layers together as you're sewing throughout that curve. And we will be sewing at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so once you're ready, take it to your sewing machine and start sewing. This step does take a little bit of practice, so if you get it wrong the first time, no worries, just de-thread and try again. And just like with the previous steps, you want to be very precise with the 1/4 inch seam allowance. And with my experience, sewing a curve like this, you're sewing through the bias, so one of the layers is going to stretch as you're sewing it, causing them to be offset in the end. If you see this start to happen, pull both layers so they line back up correctly. You can also loosen up your presser foot so it's not pushing down on those layers too hard, causing them to stretch. And if you are using a fabric with stretch, it's going to stretch a lot more, so you'll really want to pay attention. Now we can move over to the front side and trim the bias tape flush with the seam allowance. Double check all your seams one more time, and then we're going to add top stitching and bias tape to each side. This is another step that takes a lot of practice to get looking perfect. Those two steps are the trickiest part of making this cap, so once you're through them, it's all easy from here on out. Moving on to the next step, and this next step is optional. We'll be adding a side strip along the bottom edge of the crown. This is used to help install the sweatband and also prevent the bottoms of the panels from stretching. We're going to place it on the inside of the crown, lining it up perfectly with the bottom edge. Once you have it lined up, we're going to take it to the sewing machine and stitch directly in the center of the side strip. And as you can see, this gives a little bit of structure to the bottom edge of the crown. Since we have all the seams sealed off, we're going to trim the bias tape and side strip flush with the edge. The last thing we have to finalize on the crown is sealing off the back opening. And there's a few different ways you can do this. One of the ways is rolling the back edge over, similar to a hem. You'll want to roll it over twice to hide the raw edge. But the second method is a little bit easier. It's just adding double fold bias tape to the edge to seal it off completely. And you can add double fold bias tape with a domestic machine or an industrial machine. If you plan on ramping up your production, I highly recommend looking into a double fold bias tape binder. But anyways, moving on, grab the complete roll brim panel assembly. For this step, we're going to be attaching the brim to the crown, and the first thing you want to do is mark the center on the brim. Then we're going to spin the crown around to the front seam, and that's going to be the center on the crown. So place the right sides together, lining up the brim with the bottom edge of the crown. And this is where you can decide on the length and width of the brim to customize the look. I designed this brim to have a little bit of space before the back opening. This is going to give you room to install a buckle. But if you want to go flush all the way up to that back edge, then you can add more length to the brim panel. And once you have everything lined up, place a few pins, and we're going to stitch along that bottom edge directly on the 1/4 inch seam allowance. We don't want to go past that 1/4 inch seam allowance because we still need room to install the sweatband. After sewing, I like to quickly look around the cap, make sure the brim is perfectly lined up because it can kind of move as you're sewing, so you want to make sure it's perfectly straight with the crown. Also, you can see that the brim is nice and filled and it's sticking out. It's not so flat up against the crown. So I highly recommend using batting, and you can find that at pretty much any hobby store. Moving on to the next step, we'll be adding the sweatband, and this is a pre-bought sweatband. I'll put a link down below. These are millinery grade and they're super nice to work with. If you do want to make your own, grab some foam. You could use the same batting and roll some fabric over the edges. Place a couple stitches down the center along the edges and you're good to go. You just don't want to make it too thick or else it's going to be hard to sew through all the layers. And for this cap, it's very easy to install the sweatband. All we're going to be doing is sewing it along the bottom edge of the crown, and you don't need any fancy machines or tools. But if you want to get a perfect placement, all you need is some thicker construction paper and you make a little sleeve. You want to make it at least 5 inches long and exactly the same width as your sweatband. So when you feed the sweatband into the sleeve, you want absolutely no movement from side to side. This will keep the sweatband lined up with the needle as you're sewing for a perfect placement. Now that we have our attachment created and our sweatband in the attachment, we're going to take it to the sewing machine and tape it down. You want the bottom of the sweatband facing up and lined up directly with the needle, and secure it down with tape. To sew it on correctly, we're going to separate the brim from the crown and roll the bottom edge inward. So essentially, it's going to be like we're adding a top stitch. Start sewing on the sweatband and then feed your cap into the needle. As you sew, the sweatband will move right along with the stitch and give you a perfect placement. I do have other sweatband machines, and I found that this is still the most accurate way to do it. It comes out perfectly lined up, and also the speed of production is very quick. Moving right along, the next thing we're going to do is install the back closure, and you have a few different options. You can use leather in a buckle, a nylon clip, or a plastic snap. You can also create your own strap out of the fabric you're using. For this cap, I'm going to be using the leather in the buckle, but they're all pretty much installed the same way. What we're going to do is roll the sweatband under and inward so it lines up perfectly with the back opening. Then all you have to do is slide your closure in between the sweatband and the crown. And the biggest thing here is that you want your closure to line up with the bottom edge so it's not offset when it clips to the other side. So if you're using the poly snaps or the clip closure, you want to line both sides up before you stitch them down. With the leather strap, you kind of have to envision where you're going to place the buckle to get the correct alignment. Once you're satisfied with the alignment, we're going to stitch both sides down, and I'll be stitching directly on top of the bias tape. It's best to go back and forth a few times to really lock down those closures so they don't rip out over time. Also, matching your thread color to your fabric color will hide the stitch so it's not as visible. Since I installed the leather and buckle, the next step is to install the buckle. For this cap, I don't need the oval eyelet, so I'm only going to be installing the buckle. It's super easy. It's installed with an eyelet, so we're going to install it the same way we installed the eyelets in previous steps. Once you figured out the correct placement, mark the buckle opening with chalk or a pen. Punch an opening big enough for your eyelet to fit through. Feed the right side of the eyelet from the inside, and we will be going through the sweatband. For this one, I'll be using a press just to show you the variations. If you're really looking to ramp up production, I recommend looking into an automatic eyelet machine. This will do all the steps in one, saving you a ton of time. Before we feed the leather through the buckle, we want to first tack down the brim. This will prevent the brim from flapping around and lock it down in place. And we're only adding a small tack stitch in the corner of the brim. If you don't like the tack stitch look, you can always swap it out for a rivet or any sort of grommet. Now you can feed the leather through the buckle and try it on. I also added branding. I used leather strips added with double-sided rivets. If you don't like that look, you can use woven tags, embroidery, or even screen print. Now you can get a full look at the cap and start to make your customizations to fit it to your style. Whether that's changing up the brim size, adding more eyelets to the crown, or using a different type of back closure. The possibilities are endless, so have some fun with it, get creative, and make a cap that's really unique to your style. And there you have it, your 5-panel Docker cap is complete. Hopefully yours turned out as good as mine did. And I know the sizing of this cap can vary based on the fabric you use, so for the best results, I recommend sticking with the medium weight fabric. Also, you don't want a fabric with a ton of stretch. The denim I used had quite a bit of stretch in it, which made it hard to sew the curve because one of those panels constantly wants to stretch as the other one's getting pulled through the machine. This will offset the pattern. It's not that big of a deal, but it does slow down production. But like always, I love to see what you come up with, so tag me on Instagram at Properfit Clothing. And until then, I'm gonna keep the videos coming at you, so I'll see you next time.